We've got a new world boss. Welcome back to another Bit Heroes video. Today we're talking about the new world boss, the Brimstone Syndicate. In this specific video, we're going to talk about all of the loot, and then in the following video, we're going to talk about all the familiars and anything else that we missed. That way we can kind of break it up and give you guys a little bit more of a bite-sized chunk instead of some 30-minute long video. I actually had this video ready to post, but they kept doing little changes and updates and things like that, and it kept having me push back the video, and then okay, here we are. So that would explain why we're 1 week late, but you know, let's catch up, let's get into it. One thing that I'd like to say is in the notes, they've started putting in a change log and actually letting us know what's going on. That way you don't have to go to Discord or some other third party to try to figure out very important game information, so I'm very positive about that change. And the reason why I talk about in this video is because we've seen some Brimstone Syndicate changes. So here we go. So Brimstone Syndicate, when the world boss schematics came out, usually they're not available. You can't use consumable schematics to obtain these, at least for a week. So now they are available. If you were trying to use your schematics and it said that there was nothing available for you, well, now you can actually do that. They fixed the loot table because apparently normal mode for this world boss specifically was not dropping legendaries to my knowledge. Well, hopefully that has been fixed. A lot of players think that the mount was actually not on the loot table until recently, and I'll be showing you guys the mount a little bit later, or maybe in the next video. But I can confirm that it is in game. It drops from the world boss, and it looks freaking amazing. So very happy about that. Other things, they've updated the mythic familiar and some other things that we'll talk to all this when we get to it. When we get to it, boys. Anyways, let's do it. Let's jump right in. So this picture is available on my Discord and elsewhere. This picture is actually put together by Devilside, so he's another active player in our community. And this is all the loot. When the spear was first created, it actually had a bug where it was showing the skills from the APOC spear. This is the actual updated set, and we'll talk about that kind of as we get to it. But first things first, we have the mythic helmet. It is 3% crit chance, 3% speed. That is the corrected tooltip because this one also had an error when it came out, but the corrected amount is 3% crit, 3% speed. One thing I want you guys to notice about the mythics here is that these stats are different from what we're used to. Typically, you'll have one high stat and two low stats. This has a high stat, a medium stat, and a low stat, and that'll be more relevant when I talk about the tank item, but I just want you guys to be aware of that the stat breakdown is going to be a little bit different when you upgrade these mythics. As far as crit chance, that's really cool. Crit chance is one of the bonuses that we haven't really seen utilized that much on mythic gear. You can get it on your accessory, but you're basically limited to that. Some familiars have it as a bonus, and there's some players getting excited about this item particularly because maybe we're going to see more crit chance items in the game, and the reason why that is exciting is because of the Widowmaker accessory, of the diadem wings, of just any opportunity for you to get crit damage on your character is going to synergize very well with crit chance, as you can imagine. So this is fairly exciting, and maybe we'll start to see some like 6% crit chance or something on mythics in the future. As far as the speed is always a good stat for an offensive player. The downside is typically guys that want to go with crit, Widowmaker, things like that, you're looking for more of a bursty build just kind of based on preference, and you want to see those big numbers. Speed is not going to help you see big numbers, but it will help you kind of average out your DPS, so your damage over time will benefit from it. Or maybe you're getting deflected too much and you want to kind of bring that burst damage down but keep your DPS high. Speed will help that for you. So this is a good item. You can definitely use it. As far as the cosmetic, the tooltip is pretty accurate to the cosmetic. The player's face will actually poke right through the mouth. It looks like some sort of demon bird situation. Your player's face will poke right through. Pretty decent cosmetic that actually pairs very well with the body piece. And of course, since your player's face pokes through, you can use any sort of skin change potion or something weird, and you can find some sort of synergy there. So looks like a little demon bird situation, and again, the tooltip is very accurate. Last thing I'll say is if you do want to go for a 100% burst build, this will get you a little bit closer there, but again, you know, it's a little bit counterintuitive, speed with crit together, but as far as your DPS is concerned, this is a great item, no problem. Um, Moving on to the body, this is a tank item. While above 50% health, gain 5% absorb. 5% absorb is significant. There's nothing to, to shake a stick, or in this case a spear at. 5% absorb is significant. Again, these stats are not like the typical stats, so if you upgrade this thing all the way, you might end up having like 120 agility or something like that, and that's not desirable as a tank. It's not the end of the world, but it's not desirable. I will say that the higher that we go up in tier and total stats, and as those things scale, an extra 50 agility here and there is a lot less significant than it used to be percent-wise. But if you really want to min-max those numbers, I still want to see agility as low as possible. So that's something to consider. As far as this bonus, you can definitely run it. It's not my cup of tea. I like my defensive bonuses and abilities and all those just to be very consistent. And while you're going to spend a lot of time over 50%, it is a chance to have a chance to absorb, kind of. So again, you could run it, but is it going to be best in slot? Not every item needs to be best in slot. However, if you are a player that's running Mythic World Boss in the same tier, if you're tier 11 and you're running tier 11 World Boss Heroic, you're going to probably have the best items in the game or close to it, so you have a lot of competition of, are you actually going to use this item? And you could. Maybe you want to do some sort of crazy absorb build, but it's not like game changing to me. I'd probably just keep running when I'm running. Moving on to the first set, so Dragon Skull. This is a 2-piece offensive set. Damage increased by 2%, gain 1% damage for each 10% health missing on your target. So if your target is missing 90% health, you're going to get 9% plus that base 2%, which is 11%. That's pretty cool. It's maybe a preference thing. I prefer a lot of opening damage and less execute damage, execute being that your target has low health, because if you can do such bursty hits, you have a good chance of one-shotting stuff, or maybe just the extra execute damage is probably going to be overkill, in my opinion. So this isn't super exciting, at least not to me. But you could run it. And let's see, moving on to Black Arrow, the new tanky set, 2% absorb chance, gain 0.5% absorb chance for each 10% of your health missing. So you can do the math there and you can get some decent absorb. But kind of counterintuitive, or just counter to the mythic body piece, not that you'd wear both of them together, but when your health is high, you're getting absorbed. Now when your health is low, you're getting absorbed. Okay, you can do it. As far as the skills, again, it originally had the APOC skills that has been fixed. This is the updated version. These are not bad skills. Not bad at all. 1 SP self-heal, that's fine. A damage weakest damage self skill is awesome. Fun fact, the damage self component of this is actually reduced if you have damage reduction. You have a chance to reduce it, and I think your other defensive bonuses work against that as well. So if you have 50% damage reduction, for example, the damage self portion of this will hit you for half the amount listed. Also, damage self skills have a chance to proc your defensive pet if you have one. So you have a chance of, you're going to deal that damage to the weakest enemy, you're going to hit yourself, potentially proc your own defensive pet, and you might even come out getting more defensive healing than you would have damaged yourself. Hopefully that made some sense. The other thing is damage self skills deal damage equal to a skill that has one more SP requirement. So that's a very complicated way of saying this skill hits like a 2 SP skill, is what I should have said. As far as Impale, so it's a 2 SP, damage furthest enemy and damage to yourself. Damage furthest is a nice skill to have. You've got closest, you've got furthest, weakest, and the last skill here is strongest. So you've got a lot of options here. Damage furthest, I think, is the second hardest hitting multiplier. So I think damage strongest is the hardest hitting. I think furthest is the second, and this one's up to the next level because this is a damage self skill. So I like those skills, especially on a tank. That's awesome. You're gonna hit really hard. You're basically hitting somebody with like a mount skill. And then the last one here, damage strongest enemy, but this is not a damage self skill. Kind of wish it was, but again, it's just nice to have those options. You've got closest, furthest, weakest, strongest. You can do all that kind of stuff. This is a very good skill set, but it's not revolutionary. It's not game changing or anything like that. The reason why I say that is because we've seen so many skills added into the game or so many weapons that have like 0 SP heal, 0 SP shield. Now we're seeing 0 SP heal and shield skills. that's fairly revolutionary as far as Bit Heroes goes. Those are exciting skills. So while this is very good, this is not some sort of it's not revolutionary. It's not going to change your life or anything like that. As far as down here, this little picture, Devil Side, he's actually showing off the legendary cosmetics. So he's got the legendary helmet. It shoots off the laser beam down here. It goes from low kind of all the way to high. So a little bit of like, I believe that's a 45 degrees arc. He's got legendary spear, body. I believe this is the offhand, etc. So those are the legendary cosmetics that are going to come out of here. Now, as far as, hey, we got a mythic, cool. As far as crafting those items, you might say, well, I'm not doing a heroic world boss. Maybe I'm never going to get these sets. And you actually have a backdoor method of getting it. So first things first, the tank set, you have a main hand and you have a ring. And then down here you have, for the offensive set, you've got offhand and necklace. And you will obtain these recipes if you destroy a legendary or if you destroy a set piece or a mythic from that world boss. Actually, I don't know if mythic counts. So if you destroy a legendary or a set piece, you'll get these recipes because you'll get these materials, and you have a little backdoor way to making these sets. If you really decide that you want one of these, you can just get 10 legendaries from that world boss, destroy them, get the materials, and you can just craft these. And you can technically do that without ever setting foot in heroic world boss. The other thing is, if you do expedition or invasions, they drop random legendaries from any content, and if your character is tier 11, you have a chance to get these. So that's another way that you have a chance to be able to craft these options. But kind of going back to it, it's kind of nice that they're giving options for players that don't have Starweave, so it's nice to see two-piece sets. However, I still think there's a lot of room. This could have potentially been a three-piece set with a compelling three-piece bonus for players that do have Starweave or players that do fit this. And if the two-set piece is good enough, players without Starweave will still benefit, so you can still cater to both. Some people think that the game wants to move away from Starweave because Starweave is tier 9. As we go up and up and up, we don't want to feel like players are going to massively miss out due to some legacy item, but I think ancient items are special enough that that's probably not what we're seeing here. It's just they wanted to add some two-piece sets in here as well. So that pretty much wraps it up. In the next video, we will talk about, can I find it? We will talk about the mount. This beautiful mount. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.